Every single day, 2 quarts of oil rise from the seabed at Pearl Harbor. They come from the wreck of the USS Arizona. She's been leaking for 85 years. 1,177 of her crew are still inside. Nobody has stopped it. Nobody has tried. And there's a reason for that. On the morning of December 7th, 1941, the Arizona was moored on Battleship Row. The second ship in a line of 7 rafted alongside the repair ship Vestal. She had been in the Navy for 26 years. 2 presidents had stood on her deck. Her crew that morning was 1,512 men. Some were at breakfast, some still in their racks, a few already on watch. At 8:06 a.m., a single armor-piercing bomb dropped from a Nakajima B5N flying at 10,000 feet, fell through her forecastle deck. It reached the forward magazine. What happened next was the loudest thing anyone had ever heard. 1,000,000 pounds of gunpowder detonated in a single blast. The front half of the ship lifted clean out of the water. Observers 5 miles away said the sky turned orange. In 9 minutes, she was on the bottom. 1,177 of her crew went with her. Most of them are still aboard. Only 107 bodies were ever recovered. The rest, 1,070 men, are entombed inside the hull. Some are sealed behind bulkheads the Navy decided not to cut. Some are in compartments nobody can safely reach. Most are simply somewhere in the wreckage, 40 feet below the surface. In 1962, the United States declared her a war grave. That was the year the memorial opened, the white curved structure you see in every photograph of Pearl Harbor. It sits directly over her hull without touching it. And here's something most people don't know. The handful of men who survived the attack and later died of old age, a lot of them asked to be cremated and returned to the ship. Park Service divers take their urns down and place them inside the hull alongside the shipmates they outlived by 60 or 70 years. The Arizona isn't just a wreck. She's a cemetery that's still accepting its dead. And she's still bleeding. When she sank, the Arizona had just been topped off. Roughly 1.5 million gallons of bunker sea fuel oil were sitting in her tanks, enough to run the ship for a month at sea. None of it burned. The bomb broke her open above the oil storage, not through it. So when the fires finally died, most of that fuel was simply sitting there, trapped inside a cracked hull on the bottom of the harbor. For the first 2 decades, nobody thought much about it. The leaks were small, but in the 1990s, NOAA sent teams down to survey the wreck, and what they found changed the conversation. The hull is rusting from the inside out. The steel is losing roughly 10,000ths of an inch every single year. Somewhere between 2030 and 2040, nobody knows exactly when, something is going to give. A bulkhead, a fuel tank seam, a corroded rivet line. And when it does, a large portion of the remaining oil will come out at once. Right now, 2 quarts a day is a rounding error. A catastrophic release would be an environmental disaster in the middle of a national memorial, and they know it. So, why hasn't anyone pumped it out? The short answer is, you can't. Not without destroying the thing you're trying to protect. Drilling into the tanks means cutting into a structure that's already collapsing. It means sending divers into compartments with human remains in them. It means treating a war grave like a salvage job. The Navy, the National Park Service, and the families of the 1,177 have all said the same thing. No. There's also the symbolic weight. The Arizona is the single most recognizable American casualty of the entire Second World War. The oil coming up from her hull has a name, They call it the Black Tears. For 60 years, every survivor interviewed about the leak said the same thing: let her cry. So every morning, a few drops rise from the wreck and spread across the harbor. 2 quarts, enough to be seen, not enough to matter, yet. One day in the next 15 years, that's going to change. The engineers know it, the Park Service knows it, and the 1,177 men still inside, they've known for 85 years. Until then, the USS Arizona is doing the only thing a ship in her condition can still do. She's still on watch, and she's still bleeding. Subscribe to see what happened to her sister ship. The one that was at Pearl Harbor that morning survived the attack and still ended up at the bottom of the Pacific.